Good morning, and thank you for joining me, ladies and gentlemen. This is Forged from Iron. I'm Gatesy, and this is our Three Lions preview for the upcoming match at the European Championships between the mighty England and Ukraine. And this match takes place this evening, 8 p.m. UK time, and it's taking place at the Stadio Olympico in Rome. And joining me to discuss it today, Mr. Andy Miles. How are you, sir?
Not bad, mate. Getting ready for the kitchen for the show, aren't we? We're doing the kitchen show shortly after me.
We're working on it. We're working on it. So anybody that's watching this either live or at their own leisure, please make sure, do us a favor, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and make sure you click that bell icon so you'll be notified of any new content as and when it is uploaded to the channel. Let's just have a look in the live chat, Milesy. We got Reese in. How you doing, Reese? Hope you're well, my friend, and hopefully you'll be even better around about 10 o'clock tonight UK time, because if you're sort of like smiling, then I'll be smiling and England will be in the semi-finals. Let's keep our fingers crossed, shall we? Yeah. So, Milesy, quarter-final against Ukraine. Talk to me. What are your thoughts? How the team's going to line up, formations, all the rest?
First of all, I don't think we could have picked a better draw to it. Everyone was crapping themselves, saying, "Rather wish we finished second or to avoid," and then everything's gone our way so far, hasn't it, mate? So, and it's
like 3 years ago, to be fair.
Yeah. I think this will be different. I watched West Ham after the Italy game. I watched West Ham Friday Night Pint. I just watched a rerun, and they were talking about it as well. And the things what we've got to still take into consideration is the heat. So even though it's 9 o'clock in Rome, they reckon it's still going to be about 30 degrees. So I know we've played hot days at Wembley, but it's a different kind of heat. I'm not saying
what's the humidity? Do you know?
I don't know what the humidity is, but they reckon that's what it is. But I'm not making excuses because Ukraine. I don't know where Ukraine have played their games. I'm not like knowledged up, but
they were in the Netherlands group, weren't they? So they would have at least played one game in Amsterdam, but I don't know where the other two games were played off the top of my head.
Yeah. So I'm not saying that they've got the advantage because of that, because a lot of Ukrainians. I'm doing the research as we speak. They play in the Russian league, so it's not like they're used to you used to the heat. So it's not so much that, but I'm just trying to see. I'm glad, like what Ryan said. I'm glad we're playing in Ukraine. Can you imagine playing Spain, because Spain are used to that humidity and heat and stuff like that. So no, that's an advantage on our part. But no, Ukraine are no mugs. Like the same as Switzerland yesterday. Switzerland obviously beat France and very unlucky to Spain. So these nations are like what Scotland is. It's their cup final. It doesn't matter where they finish. If they beat a big team, they've done their job. And they nearly beat the Netherlands, mate. Do you know what I mean? In the group stages. So that
a great comeback. They were 2-0 down, weren't they? They pulled it back to 2-2, and it was just right at the last knockings that they conceded.
And I'm just looking,
Gatesy,
because I've gone on transfer market, the sort of thing. What are you? And a lot of their players, so like they've got, I can never say his name, but when we go to it, they've got a player on transfer market rated at 30 million. Yeah, on transfer
Which one's
market.
That?
So
is that Yaremchuk?
No. Ruslan Manilovsky.
Okay.
The number 8. Let's see if he's in.
Rated fairly decent.
Yeah. But he's not in the starting 11.
Well, we don't know. That's just a prediction that I've done. So
yeah. No. So
they've got a few injuries, haven't they?
Yeah, so he may be injured. Sorry, I'm just going by the squad. So transfer market, normally they go a little bit under. So the fact that they're rated 30 million on transfer market, they must be doing. But he may be injured, like I said. So, but no, I'm feeling confident, mate. I think there will be changes for the England side. But yeah, no, I'm feeling confident.
We got 4 players on a yellow card, haven't we? And I think this is after this round, the yellow cards are scrubbed, aren't they? So
That's
they won't
correct,
be
yeah.
carried forwards into the final, so to speak. So if say for example, we know Declan Rice is on a yellow right now. If he plays today, comes through without getting a yellow card and plays in the semi-final, it's not like he could then get yellow carded in the semi-final and miss the final itself. So
Yeah.
well, I'll tell you what, if you get the what I believe that might happen, and it could be completely wrong, this is complete guesswork.
Yep.
I'm not in the know, and I haven't been tipped off or anything like that. This is just me putting 2 and 2 together, and I might be making 5. So do you want to put up what I think might be the England lineup, Marzi?
You just need to enable the screen share, mate.
Sorry, my bad. There we go.
That's all right. So
okay, I actually think that Declan Rice is going to be on the bench. I've got a funny feeling that he'll try and find a little bit of balance. If he's got 4 players on a yellow that potentially could miss the semi-final, I don't think he's going to play all 4 of them. I really don't. So I got a funny feeling that Henderson will come in for Rice. I think he's going to go back to a back 4. I know that the 3 at the back worked against Germany, but I think Gareth Southgate is sort of like a horses for courses manager. I think he'll go back to the tried and tested 4 at the back formation that's served well over the years. And I think that, as I say, Henderson's going to come in for Rice, because I know Mount has one player that sort of like people have said, well, maybe he could come in. But I just think that stylistically, Henderson is more sort of like aligned to what Rice does than Mason Mount is. So I think it makes sense for Jordan Henderson to come in. Also, possibly for his leadership qualities on the pitch. You know, it's going to be a tough game. As you say, this is not a gimme by any stretch of the imagination. Yes, when you look at, you know, our head-to-head record, which we will come to, when you look at the respective seasons that we've had in international football, and you look also at the players in terms of what they've won for their clubs, the clubs that they represent, in terms of what they've won on the European stage, pretty much everything points to an England win, but we know that's not how football works.
Yeah, no.
So and they've come through. Let's not muck about. When you get to a quarterfinal of a major international tournament like this, you're not going to play a mug. You're not going to play San Marino. You're not going to play the Faroe Islands. You're not going to play the Kazakhstan under-23s. You're going to play a quality team. And you're going to play a quality team that's got a point to prove, because they are the underdogs, but they'll want to prove everybody wrong, and they'll want to make the last 4 of the European Championships. So this is not an easy game, but I think it's going to be Pickford in goal, standard. I mean, he's been arguably our best player. Not that he's been called upon much. Let's be fair. The defence in front has actually shielded him very well. But on the occasions when the defence has been breached and he's had to make a save, he's done it, and he's done it fantastically. So I'd say Jordan Pickford has been one of our better players, and there's no argument he's the number 1. He's in. I think the back 4 is then going to be Luke Shaw at the left, Kyle Walker right, and I think you're going to have Harry Maguire and John Stones central. I mean, Reece said there he wouldn't play Rice either today. As I say, I think that he's going to try and find a little bit of a balance between, sort of like looking at this game, but also I know sort of like they turn around and say, oh no, we're only going to concentrate on this game, but you do kind of have to look a little bit beyond.
See, I'm the opposite, Gatesy. I can see Phillips coming out and Rice not.
Okay.
The reason why
what would be your reasoning for that?
Because the fact that Rice played 80 minutes with a yellow card and didn't do a foot wrong. I know Phillips is older, but the more Premier League experience, which is more competitive than the Championship, no disrespect to Phillips, and he's a captain, so he knows his leadership, he knows what he needs to do, and I think Phillips, the way Phillips has gone into challenges compared to Rice, he's more likely to get a card than Rice. So I can see I don't even see Henderson coming in. If Rice plays, I can see Bellingham coming in.
Okay. So you think it will be Bellingham for Phillips?
Yeah.
You don't think that maybe sort of Mason Mount might be the one that sort of, if it is Phillips that drops out, you don't think maybe that will be the opportunity for Mason Mount?
No, I would see Rice, because Bellingham's proved it in them games. He's proved it for Dortmund all season. He's a box-to-box midfielder, and he would be more suited, in my opinion, than Phillips for this game. Not saying for the tournament, but for this game, and I think that would work well. I'm not just saying that because I'm a West Ham fan. This is an England. I don't want them to think I'm biased because it's Declan Rice. I want him to play. I'm thinking in Gareth's head and my opinion, obviously.
Yeah.
And I can see Grealish being where you're putting him, though. I'll see Grealish.
Yeah, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that because here's the thing. He came on against Germany. It was a bit of an arm wrestle up to that point, and he's come on and he's got an assist and he's got a pre-assist, the assist to the assist, if you will.
Yeah.
So his contribution in that cameo role, it's clear for all to see, you know. Yeah. So for me, I think he has to start, and I would certainly put him as the sort of in the hole, if you will. So you've got the two sort of more defensively minded central midfielders, and you've got another one that's just slightly in advance, but just slightly withdrawn from the three more offensive players. So he's playing in that little space, and he'll find little pockets of space, you know, because he'll be in that sort of area where everyone will be looking and thinking, you know, right, well, does a midfielder go and mark him, or does a defender step out and mark him? In which case, it creates space for the front players, causes a little bit of confusion. So I think he will probably operate if he plays, and I hope he doesn't. If he doesn't play, I'd be like, what does he have to do? Quite frankly, you know, he came on and he was the catalyst for that game being turned in our favour, you know. So I'd like to see him start, and I'd like to see him given that role in that sort of position on the pitch. And then further forwards, I think Raheem Sterling's. Oh, sorry, Mosey.
No, I could see it being a 4-4-2, Gatesy. I could see Grealish out on the left, Saka on the right, and Sterling and Kane playing up front together. Like Sterling is like Harry Kane just playing in behind him. Do you know how he sort of plays for Spurs? Harry Kane drops deeper, and I could see Sterling making them runs in behind, and then obviously you've got Saka and Grealish, so we're really stretching them, so to speak. That's the way. Yeah, it's sort of like what you're saying, but obviously, just Grealish out on the left, and then Sterling and Kane, and then Saka out on the right. So we've got natural, inverted winners, so to speak. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But they can cut in, and I think that could cause more damage.
The only thing with that is you don't tend to see 4-4-2 much in international football these days, do you? It seems to be a little bit of
you could surprise them though if they're not. Yeah.
I mean, Reece thinks it's a good idea. So, you know, listen,
it's all about opinions.
Playing 4-4-2. It's all about opinion. I'm not averse to it. I mean, you know, I think that it's something that sort of like for many, many years was, you know, that was just our standard formation. We was always 4-4-2, and yes, it had its critics, but you know, two strikers up top. Now most teams only play with one, and like you say, they're like inverted wingers either side. So and look, you know, I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm not saying sort of like a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1 or whatever formation you wanted to deploy instead of a 4-4-2 doesn't have its advantages and disadvantages. You know, every formation does. But you know, and I wouldn't be averse to seeing that. I mean, you've got the pace of Sterling, you've got the strength and the intelligence of Harry Kane up front. That would be quite a good partnership. And then, like you say, wide Saka and Grealish. I just think that Grealish, I think, can have more of an influence on the game played more centrally. I think he could just sort of like be the conductor, pulling the strings and spraying balls here, there, and everywhere. Whereas I think when he's sort of like he's on the left, which I know is where he tends to play sort of like more by default. But I think that when he's sort of like shunted over onto the left, you know, he's sort of like, he can only go one way sort of thing, you know, whereas when he's central, the pitch opens out a little bit more to him.
Just something out there as well, which we may see, which I don't want. Well, I think it will still be effective.
Sorry, Reece.
Yeah,
I meant
yeah.
footballing intelligence. Footballing intelligence. Let's just I probably should have qualified that. You know, you can't deny Harry Kane has a tremendous level of footballing intelligence. Whether he has a great level of intelligence away from the footballing arena, I couldn't possibly comment. You make your own judgment on that.
But
sorry,
I could also see a 3-4-3 Gatesy. So I could see Walker.
Okay.
Walker obviously going into the back three like he did against Germany, because Luke Shaw was amazing going forward, wasn't he? So Luke Shaw giving you the natural width, and then you'll have Bellingham or Phillips and Saka covering the right, and then like you said, Grealish in the hole. That will cause more damage as well. So do you see what I mean? So you have a 3-4, and then the three up there. So you could even see that as well. Because Luke Shaw was amazing, like I said. He was my man of the match. He was my man of the match. The last game.
He was certainly. Who was it I gave man of the match to?
Rice.
I'm trying to remember now.
It was Rice,
Duke, wasn't it?
You and Duke went.
But I think it was a close run thing between him and Shaw. In fairness, it might have been my claret and blue goggles that might have.
Shaw a 10, didn't I?
I don't know.
Shaw a 10.
Yeah. No, he had a fantastic game. He had an absolutely fantastic game. Alex has just jumped in. Should be the same the team that played Germany. Yeah, I mean, you've got the thing, never change a winning team, but there's also the thing, Alex, I guess, that, you know, if you look at a set of players and you think that, you know, the set of players that you're about to play against, and you can see certain deficiencies, certain flaws, certain weaknesses, and you look at the team that you've just put out, so the team that started against Germany or the team that finished against Germany, whichever way you wanted to do it, but you thought that maybe there were players that could exploit their weaknesses and maybe cover up some of your own weaknesses better than one of the players that you've already got, I think you'd have to give it due consideration.
Yeah, he's changed every. I don't think he's kept the same side, has he? So far, he's always at least one change has been made. So, with the 5 subs, I could see if we go 2-0 up. 2-0 is a dangerous score, but I could see the ones on the cards coming off.
Yeah.
So you could see Mings come in for Maguire.
Depends on how much time there is left. I mean, if it's 2-0 up with, you know, and we've still got the whole of the second half to play, you're right, that is dangerous. That is dangerous. But I think if you get the second goal like we did against Germany in the 86th minute, the game's done.
No, but I'm on about probably 20 minutes to go. If you're 20 minutes to go, like you go 2-0 up, say you go 2-0 up on 55 minutes, you leave it for 15 minutes, just let that game settle. And then with 20 minutes to go, you go, you're off.
I know that, Reece. I remember going, I think I've been at 2 games where we've been 3-0 up and lost. I think one was against Wimbledon, and I think the other one was West Brom, if I remember correctly. Both at Upton Park. 3-0 up in both games, and you come away after the final whistle's gone and you go, how the hell did that happen? But it's West Ham, and obviously this isn't West Ham.
Right, it wasn't 3. Was the Man United game when we were 2-0 up with 2 noble penalties and we lost 4-2. I cried that day.
Oh, that was under Avram Grant, wasn't it?
Yeah, Rooney scored a hat-trick and he got told off for the swearing in the camera, wasn't it?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, he came over and was a little bit industrial with his language. But yeah, so moving on to the forward line. So we've obviously covered off the midfielders. So Sterling, Saka, Kane as the front 3. Do you sort of like see that, or do you see maybe Foden coming in for Saka perhaps?
No, Foden's on a card. He'll be crucial for us in the semi-final, in my opinion. He'll be able to unlock the door. Me personally, who I'd love to see, I would love to see Sancho, but he's not had enough minutes, I think, to warrant a starting place.
Isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know whether now he's got his Man United move, maybe, but Rashford's not in form either. But Rashford would be a good option as well.
Yeah.
With his
morning,
pace.
Kent.
So yeah, morning, Kent. But no, Saka, he's done well. But do you want that person with more of a goal, like striker's instinct? If he gets an opportunity, he only needs one chance, he'll score. So I see Saka starting, but me personally, I would love to see a Rashford or a Sancho with someone with a right footer, so to speak, no inverted. Get to the byline. I know Grealish crossed with his left foot, but Grealish can. But Saka, I've no, my opinion, I've not seen him use his right foot as much as his left. So you want someone natural width, run to the thing and.
Fair enough. Cool. So, and obviously Harry Kane, we know he's going to play, and Sterling should as well. You know, that he's scored all but one of our goals, Sterling. So, and this was a guy that when he came into the tournament, a lot of people, myself included, were sort of questioning whether he should have been starting and all the rest of it. And he's come up trumps. He's done really, really well.
No, he's done very well. That goal for Harry Kane is crucial. He's very crucial, and I think now, like what you see for Tottenham, the worldy goals, what he scores, shots from outside the box. I could see him doing a couple of them today as well. If he's got space 20, 25 yards out, you know he's got the technique to do it. I could see a couple of them going in today, and we'll get to the predictions earlier, but I think he will be on the score sheet today.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Shall we quickly move on to the Ukraine team? Now, a lot of these names will probably not be familiar to an awful lot of people, and I've got to be honest, an awful lot of them aren't familiar to me, Molesy. How about yourself?
Yeah,
other
mate.
Than the obvious one.
Yeah, I've done a lot of homework on this, mate. I know exactly. I know them all. Yeah, no, I ain't really. I can tell you what they play for.
The only two I could really, I could as well, but much more than that, I know not. But just looking at that, obviously the only two players that I could really give you my considered opinion on would be Alexander Zinchenko from Manchester City and our own Andrei Yarmolenko. But aside from that, if you would ask me, you know, what are the strengths and weaknesses of this player, that player, the other way up, mate, I really couldn't tell you.
No, I know a couple of them. I've seen them play in Europe. So Roman Yarashuk, he plays for Ghent, and I watched a lot of European football last year.
Yeah.
I've seen him. He's a talent. He is a talent, and he's a good player. Who's the other one? He plays for Atalanta. He's not in predicted starting level. Karvalenko. He plays for Atalanta. So when the British team played him, he was a talent. Obviously, let me just have a look at the other one, the number 10, isn't it?
I think, if I remember rightly, a couple of weeks ago, do you remember that I did a stream with James Snedden from the Anvil? Yeah. And he was doing a little sort of scouting report, and a couple of names cropped up. And I'm fairly sure, and I'd have to go back and check, but I'm fairly sure that the Ukrainian left centre-back, Matvienko, was one of the players that he had on his shopping list.
That wouldn't surprise me, mate. He plays for Shakhtar Donetsk, he does.
I'm sure that's him. He rated him quite highly, and he was making the case that, you know, he's a player that we should be looking at as getting into the club sort of thing. So,
and on 1 second, he's rated at 11 million, 25 years of age on Transfer Market.
I'm sure it was him. I'd have to go back and check. I might be getting my players muddled up, but that name rung a bell with me when I saw him. I was like, I'm sure that's the one that James, or one of the players that James mentioned. I mean, he mentioned a few, and a couple of them I've actually seen at this particular European Championship. And one of them is Pessina, the Italian player. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, what I've seen of him, mate, I'd love him in a claret and blue shirt.
Right, Gatesy, this will surprise you, yeah? So I'm so terrible with names. Number 13, Zabarani.
Okay.
Yeah, he's 18 years of age, and he's rated 7 million on Transfer Market. So 18 years of age.
They were talking about this kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were talking about this kid on Talk Sport about a day or two ago, and they were sort of saying, he's only a kid. I was like, wow.
Who's that comment?
It says here, Shaparenko, is he like 20 years of age? I'll be
22. Plays for Dynamo Kiev.
Yeah.
8 million he's
I
rated at.
got to be honest, Reese. If you're going to ask me too many questions about Ukraine, I'm going to look very silly. If it's about Andrei Yarmolenko or Alexander Zinchenko, I've got half a chance. If it's any of the others players, mate, I might be struggling, and it might be that I'm going on to Google. Malinovsky is the Atlanta player, says Alex.
Yeah. So let me have a look here. So Gatesy, the one who we're linked with, who Anvil said with, he can play left back as well, 17 million. So he can play centre back or left back. Yeah. So no, they've got some decent players. Reece. They've got some good players.
Yeah. And let's have it right. If they manage to pull off the shock today, there'll be a few of them that will be in the shop window that otherwise wouldn't have been.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely, mate.
You know, this is the team that put England out, you know, in a quarterfinals of the European Championship in Rome, when everybody, I mean, like I say, by every single measurement that I can try and apply, any logic that I can apply, today says that this is an England win. But as I say, football doesn't work like that, you know.
Well, I don't know if you remember, Gatesy. I don't know whether it was because they were just chasing the game, but Zinchenko's got like a free reign for them. You see him on the right, you see him on the left. He just wants the ball and has control, and that's dangerous. That is absolutely dangerous. You've seen his threat for what he does for Man City. A fantastic talent, and if you give him the opportunity, he will punish you. And Yarmolenko,
and he's still young, isn't he?
Oh, he's like 23, 24, I think. I can double check. But Yarmolenko turns into like 24. He is Yarmolenko. No, Yarmolenko, Zinchenko.
I was going to say, is he?
Yeah. Yarmolenko turns into prime Arjen Robben when he plays for Ukraine. So you've proved what he done in the Netherlands. If you give him the opportunity, 1 or 2 touches, unleash a shot, we're in trouble. But no, it should, on paper, it's a comfortable win, but football's not played on paper.
Correct. It is played on grass, and that is kind of the problem. You can do all the analysing and you can make all the arguments that you want, and we'll get into that because I've got a couple of little slides that you're gonna. So as Chris Whitty and Patrick Vallant say, next slide, please. So I don't know if you can zoom in on that a little bit, but that is England's record in international football in this season. So since September 2020. Now look at that. I mean, if we use that as a yardstick, we've only lost 2 games in that entire run.
And look how many goals
was away.
The goals conceded.
Yeah, that was going to be my other point. That, you know, if you look at that, we've lost 2 games. One of them.
I need to zoom in a bit more, Gates, here, or is that all
right? Maybe a bit more.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Yeah, if you look at it, we've lost 2 games. One of them was at the home of the team that are the current ranked world number 1, whether you agree with that or not. That they are, and they were when we played. Well, I don't know. They might still be. I don't know how. To be honest, the FIFA World Rankings, I don't really take too much notice of them, if I'm being brutally honest. But they are, and they were when we played.
Yeah, when we didn't even get to like the quarter. Do you remember like? In 2002 or so, or 1 or something, I think we were number 1 for like a certain period, and we were getting knocked out for thingy.
Don't think we've ever been world number 1 in football. I'm fairly confident.
Or in the top 2.
I think that we've.
Or in the, do you know what I mean?
I think the highest we've got is about 3 or 4. I don't think we've got even second, if I'm being honest. But Kent might be able to jump in and sort of put me right. But I'm almost 100% sure we've never been world number 1 since the FIFA rankings have been in operation. But I mean, if you you look here. So we've lost against Denmark at Wembley. That was disappointing. We've lost against Belgium, but that was in Belgium. That was against the number 1 ranked team in the world. So that you can kind of look at and go, okay, fine. Look at the rest of it. Every other game, barring the game away against Denmark and barring the game against Scotland in the group stage, every other game is a win. And more often than not, it's clean sheet, clean sheet, clean sheet, clean sheet. I mean, that is super consistent, isn't it, Milesy?
Yeah, no, it is, mate. And the thing is, like, it just proves we can grind out results with the odd goal, and that's just good, and it just proves it. And I think John Stones has played a big part in this as well. I know he's made a couple of mistakes for City, but this season with Diaz, I think he's learnt a lot. He really has learnt a lot on how, and obviously playing under Pep. So I'm a huge John Stones fan, and when I would love him in the current blue, but I can't see it happening unless they go out and spend ridiculous.
Now. A season or two ago, I'd have said it was possible. Now, no chance.
Yeah,
no chance. He's a West Ham player. Not whilst he's still doing what he's doing for England and for Man City. Yeah. I mean, maybe towards the end of his career, who knows? But I'm a fan of his, like you.
No, they're a tough team, mate. Like you said, a win's a win, and I can only see an England win tonight. I can't even see it. I'm not even worried about extra time and penalties, but I'm just an England supporter. I'm used to being hurt as a West Ham fan, so as an England fan as well. Yeah. So hopefully I've had a bit to drink by then.
Next slide, please. So that's Ukraine's record, again, in the same time period. Now, that's a little bit more patchy, I think it's fair to say. If you look at that, they've only won 6 matches in that entire time. And
how many goals have they conceded?
There's quite a few defeats. They lost 7-1 against France in France. They lost 4-0. Oh, sorry, no, that was a 4-0 win. Sorry, I do apologise. They lost 3-0 against Switzerland, 3-1 against Germany, 4-0 against Spain. You know, they're quite porous at the back. I think it's that tends to suggest that they can be got at.
Yeah, no. I'm looking forward to this game. This would be the test. You don't have to be at your best, and we've proved that, like against Croatia. The Czech Republic, we were a lot better, but we wasn't like amazing. It doesn't matter. You grind results out, and like you said, look at the top teams who they've played though, Gatesy, like France, Germany. Like they've lost. They've not really beat anyone with a name. Do you know what I mean? Really?
No. It tends to be that the teams they've beaten, by and large, have been teams with the greatest of respect that you look at and think, well, actually, they probably should be beating them, or at least be competing with them at the very least. But like you say, when they've had Spain in front of them, when they've had France in front of them, when they've had Germany in front of them, they've come up short every time. So you know, and if we believe that we should be on the same level of those teams, then we should be putting them away just as convincingly, in my view. Maybe not a 7-1. Maybe that's because that was, in fairness, that was a friendly, and strange things can happen in friendlies. Teams are put out that are a bit experimental, and I don't tend to take too much notice of friendlies, if I'm being honest. But their record there is quite, in the same time period, is very, very patchy, and that again aligned with our record in the same time period. You look at it and you go, there should only be one winner, shouldn't there?
Yeah. No. Can I say my prediction now?
Fire away.
3-0 for me. 3-0. I've been saying that since Peach's show, because when he asked me for my prediction. So yeah. I think Kane will score. I think Calvert-Lewin, the best mate at Everton, he's not been used enough, in my opinion. I think he'll come off the bench and score. And I'm going for John Stones as well. Score. Okay. So they're my 3.
I like it.
Mr. Candy.
I on the same stream as you know, I went 1-0. I might be seeming quite conservative, that's probably because my history as a West Ham fan has taught me never to sort of get too sort of ahead of myself and all the rest of it, and I would absolutely take a 1-0 win. To be honest, I'd even take a win on penalties. I know it's not sort of like, people would say, oh yeah, but surely we should be putting them to the sword and this, that and the other. Listen, I've said it before and I'll say it again. In tournament football, all it's about is getting through to the next round by hook or by crook, and I couldn't care what the performance looks like. If we were sort of like had less possession, if we had less shots on goal, if we had this, that, and the other, but it said that we were in the semi-finals at Wembley against either Denmark or the Czech Republic, I couldn't care less.
Who would you rather play? If you had the choice, who would you rather play?
Czech Republic, because we've already beaten them in this tournament, so we've got that over them. Denmark, I just feel that whether the catalyst was the tragic events involving Eriksson that seemed to have galvanized them. I mean, obviously that you had the Finland game, which is when it happened, and for me, Denmark were the better team in that game up to that point.
Yeah, well, weren't they?
And as soon as that happened, and understandably, they were all over the show, and Finland took full advantage, and that's why they lost that game. Then you had the second game. They're going against the number one team in the world, and they went 1-0 up, don't forget. And they were playing quite well as far as I was concerned. But then obviously Belgium just came back and just had too much for them on the day. No shame in that whatsoever. They then get 4 against Russia to get through the group stage, and then they get Wales in front of them, and Wales again, not a mug team, not sort of like a top level team like a Belgium, a France, dare I say an England. They're not, but should they get beat 4-0 by Denmark? I wouldn't say so, but Denmark did it. So I think, to be honest, who would I like to play? I'd like to play the Czech Republic, but I think it will be Denmark.
Yeah.
If we get through.
I think Czech Republic, mate. I think Czech Republic are going to win on penalties. I think it'll be a very cagey game. Very cagey game, that game. And they say they're not. They're going to know what's going on with that game. So the players are going to know.
Of course they will.
And I think the Czech boys are going to win on penalties.
Fair enough. Well, my heart says I hope they do for obvious reasons. But I just got a funny feeling Denmark are going to do it. So next slide, please. So that is our head-to-head record. Now, don't forget, I mean, it's there's not a long history in football that Ukraine have, mainly because before, what was it, 92 or 93, Ukraine as a footballing entity didn't even exist because they were part of the USSR, the Soviet Union. So our first game against the Ukraine only came in 2000. So, but you look at that, and we have a fairly dominant record against them. But the only thing I'd know is the last 2 fixtures we've had against them, both of which came at the World Cup matches. We drew both of them. So
it's a long time ago, though, Gatesy. Long time ago.
Well, yeah, it was, but that'll put it this way. That will give them a little bit of hope, shall we say, that the most recent games we've played, we've not had our trousers pulled down.
The worrying thing, Gatesy, is probably Shinchenko's played in all them flipping games.
Yeah, true. True. But the one that we lost, the one that we lost, can you remember this far back? I'm fairly sure, and if Kent's still with us, he'll probably either confirm or poo-poo it. But I'm fairly sure that game in the Ukraine that we lost 1-0 was a World Cup qualifier that we'd already qualified for the World Cup, and it was the game that Robert Green got sent off in.
Probably. I can't remember that far back.
Yeah. So we got a decent record. Next slide, please. So that, again, that's just putting it into sort of like to numbers. Against the Ukraine, we've won 4, we've drawn 2, and lost 1. So again, another little thing that points to an England win, but you just don't know. Next slide, please. Now we get into the factoids. So England have lost just 1 of their 7 meetings, as we've just seen, with the Ukraine in all competitions, winning 4, drawing 2, and we went down 1-0 in October 2009 in a World Cup qualifier. The last 2 games between the sides have finished level with this first meeting since September 2013, which was a 0-0 draw in Kiev. Next slide, please. England and Ukraine have met in a major tournament once before, with the Three Lions winning 1-0 in the group stages of Euro 2012, which was hosted in Poland and Ukraine, thanks to a Wayne Rooney goal, the manager of Derby County.
Have they got a
Ukraine have
you
scored.
Seen that? Sorry, have you seen that?
Brown envelopes, allegedly. I don't know. Listen,
Disaster.
I find it quite odd. But then again, there is a precedent, because you remember there was a situation involving Sheffield Wednesday and Charlton season or two earlier. Same sort of thing. It's like, oh well, you've done an offence in such and such a season, but we'll invoke the penalty in a different season, which I think is fundamentally wrong. That's just my opinion. So anyway, Ukraine have scored just 3 goals in their 7 meetings with England, and never more than once in a match. And I don't think they're going to score more than 1 today, if I'm being honest, given our defensive record. The last 4 meetings between the sides have produced just 4 goals in total, with 2 each. Next slide, please.
Gatesy. That was me.
I've
just been sent something. Oh, I'll put it on Twitter as well. It's just a video what TalkSport released yesterday saying what Simon Jordan said. David Sullivan would sell his own grandma.
Yeah, that wouldn't, to be honest, wouldn't surprise me. They probably already done it. So England are only the 2nd side in European Championship history not to concede in any of their first 4 games of an edition of the tournament, after Germany in 2016. The only team to have kept a clean sheet in each of their opening 5 games of a World Cup or European Championships was Italy in 1990. Italia. I remember that team. Walter Zenga in goal. I'm fairly sure they had Giuseppe Bergami playing at the time.
Mancini was as well, wasn't he?
Carlo Maldini. Mancini was in the squad, but he never played a minute. Vialli was in the squad. Pietro Viekovod. Who was the goal scorer? Salvatore Schillaci. He was the guy that came in and scored all the goals virtually. And Baggio got a fantastic goal against Czech Republic, Czechoslovakia.
Baggio, that sounds like a mascot.
Brilliant goal.
Sounds like a mascot.
No, Roberto Baggio.
Yeah, no, I'm Baggio. I'm saying it sounds like a club mascot. Like, hey, Baggio, over here.
Oh, right. Fair enough. So each of England's previous 3 quarter-final matches at the European Championships have gone to extra time and penalties. Oh, luck's got to change sometime, though. After progressing from the first of these against Spain in '96, oh, I remember that very well. England lost in penalty shootouts against Portugal in '04 and Italy in 2012. Oh, do you know what I remember about the Spain one? Go on. We won the penalty shootout, and I went out in my car, and I was driving down Bexley Heath Broadway, and it was just Ramo, and everybody was out, and there were St George's flags, and everybody was tooting their horns, and people were on top of, I kid you not, people were on top of their cars, and they're sort of, giving it all that, mate. It was absolutely tip top. Hopefully we can get that again. So, and that's the end of our slides, Milesy, so I'll get rid of that. Go on, bugger off. There you go.
But no, mate.
So, hang on. What happened there?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Like I said, I'm looking forward to my day at the pub. I'm not gonna lie. Getting there for about 12:30, 1ish. Ordering pie and mash and liquor, and we're just gonna sit there all day, watch the Grand Prix, then the Czech Republic Denmark game, and then hopefully remember England winning.
Give us your score prediction for the Czech. You said, did you say penalties?
Yeah, 0-0, and then Czech Republic 0-0, and then Czech Republic on penalties.
Well, just for balance, I've already done mine, and you know it. I've actually gone 3-1 Denmark. I just got a funny feeling that they've just got this momentum now that makes them quite a difficult team to play. No, none of the quarterfinals at Wembley. I got a funny feeling that this one's in Baku.
Yeah.
Have you seen that stadium?
Yeah.
How far are the stands away from the pitch? Anybody watching this, if you think that London Stadium is bad, honestly, I'm fairly sure you'll find that the game between Denmark and Czech Republic today is at the Olympic Stadium in Baku. Have a look how far those stands are away. My God.
Because Wales played there on their first game, wasn't it? And when they scored, I think you needed a fucking binoculars to see the goal.
It was absolutely crazy. And like I say, yeah, do I think that the stands at London Stadium are far away from the pitch? Yes, I do. But it could be a lot worse, and that just is a case in point. So there you go. Anyway, so everything points towards an England win. Our historical head-to-head, how our seasons have been, side by side, and in the tournament itself, we've not conceded a goal. They've had defeats along the way, conceded goals, and all the rest of it. Everything points to an England win, doesn't it, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah. So who's your goal scorer for England, Gatesy? Who do you reckon's going to score?
Oh, well, I've said 1-0, and I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go a little curveball. I'm gonna go Jack Grealish. Grealish. I think if he's played where I would like him to be played, in that little space between defence and midfield, just sort of operating there, I think he's going to cause all sorts of damage. And I just think there'll be an opportunity that he'll be creating opportunities for others. Don't get me wrong, but I think he'll have an opportunity, and I think he'll take it. And I think that'll be a little bit of a sort of nudge to Gareth Southgate to say, you cannot put me on the bench for the semi-final.
I hope so,
hopefully, because I really rate the guy. I know, obviously, in a a league sort of format, where it's West Ham against Villa, and he's sort of like he's throwing himself to the ground, and I do think that is sometimes slightly unnecessary.
Sorry, what a joke that was, Immobile yesterday for Italy. Did you see it?
No.
For the first goal. Oh my God, mate! I'll send you the link. Yeah. So for Italian's first goal, he went down like he broke his leg, heading blah blah blah, looking at the ref, and then as soon as he scored, he got up and ran off and celebrated. As soon as they scored, Italy.
Yeah, but that's football. I'm afraid it's not.
Yeah, it's
something that the Italians were masters of way back, but it just seems everybody now does it. They get a touch. Who was it? I think it was the. No, it was the same game, but it was sort of like right at the last knockings. And I think it was Jan Vertonghen, I'm fairly sure. He got fouled. He was on the ground. He was rolling around. The referee blows his whistle to give the free kick, and he just jumps straight up and gets on with play, because obviously they're 2-1 down. The clock's ticking. He's won the free kick. His play acting, to be honest, I think it was a free kick anyway. The play acting was, in my opinion, completely unnecessary. But it was. Yeah. He went. I'm sure it was Tongan, and he went down and he rolled around, and he got the free kick straight up. And I was just like, I don't. That's something I don't like. I don't like all the rolling around and the feigning of injury. So, But there you go. That is unfortunately the game, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, that is where we are going to end our little stream. Milesy, thank you very much indeed for your company as welcome, always, my friend.
No, thank you for changing the schedule. Like I said, I didn't know if anyone else was about, and I thought I want to get it, so I'd rather do a preview. So while people are sitting there eating their bacon sandwich or Cocoa Pops or Weetabix, you've had our company this morning. Better than Soccer AM.
I haven't even had my breakfast. Terrible. What? I'm gonna do it now. I to be honest, I had a bit of a lazy start to the morning. I sort of rolled around in bed until probably about 9:15, if I'm being honest. Rolled out of bed, jumped in the shower, quick spruce up, blah blah blah, and here I am.
Are you watching the game at home, mate, or are you going out? You going out?
The plan is to watch it at home, although I'm half toying with the idea. We've got like a club that we're members of, and it's cheap beer, and I'm half toying with the idea of going there because they've got like an 80-inch telly or something that they've got installed there. So I might rock up there for a little bit of atmos, but there's another part of me that's like, but I can sit here in my own environment. I can sort of get my wife to get a beer from the fridge. As you do. Peach, you're late, Peach my friend. You're late.
Peach is in the building.
I say he's late. What's the time over there? I mean, what are they, 5-6 hours back? I can never remember.
About 3:45 in the morning, isn't it?
Oh, I'll let him off then. I'll let him off. He's made the effort. So, guys, thanks for joining us. And any of you that are watching,
have you got an England top for your dog?
No.
Oh.
Don't forget to like the video, subscribe the video, and hit the bell icon to be notified of any new content as and when it's uploaded.
And we're doing a review tomorrow.
French.
We're doing the pre-review tomorrow, yeah?
Yeah. I'll sort that out a little bit later on. It's 5:50 in Toronto. Dedication,
Have you had a beer yet,
mate.
Peach?
Maybe he's had a cider. And it's 8:50 p.m. in Brisbane, Australia.
That's so.
Well, that's a little bit more of a civilized hour.
Yeah, so. What time would it be, Jackie, when the game's on? What's that? 6?
Christ.
That'd be like 7 in. That'd be like 7 in the morning, wouldn't it?
Must be about that. Yeah, it must be about sort of 6, 7 o'clock. I'm guessing because it's 8 p.m. UK time, isn't it? So yeah, it's going to be about that.
Wow, that's mad.
Wow.
I don't know how people do that. All the Americans and stuff, innit? When they watch, like, especially the game at like 12 o'clock, it's like 5 in the morning. It's mad, isn't it?
5 a.m. If she wants to watch the football live, she's either going to have to watch it at 5 a.m. or just sort of like watch it when she gets up and hope she doesn't go near social media. She doesn't look at any newspapers, doesn't turn the radio on. She just gets up and, sort of like watches it on a recording or something, and then just sort of like keeps her fingers crossed. I don't know what she's going to do, but yeah, we do know you too well, Peach. We do. Ahmed, welcome along. Thanks for joining us. Unfortunately, you've joined us just as we're about to disappear. We're about to end the stream. Do apologise for that.
Peach, I'm going to Peach, just because Peach loves it as well. I am going to get pie mash and knicker, Peach. I'll send you a picture. Pie mash and knicker today.
Do you know what? I think I might nip out and get some as well. There's a nice little. I mean, I've got a couple of options actually, but there is probably the one I'm going to plump for. There's a nice little pie and mash shop, and I'm going to give it a plug. It's called Flows, and it's in Crayford. I'm telling you, it's absolutely tip top. In fact, I've taken my daughter to all sorts, and my sons as well. But I'm talking about my daughter Libby here. We've taken her to all sorts of pie and mash shops. We've been to obviously Nathan's back in the day. We've been to Kelly's on the Roman Road. I've taken her here, there, and everywhere. She's had Armand's pie and mash. She's had Manzi's pie and mash. But the one in Crayford, Flows, she likes the other one. It's not like she turns around and says the other ones are rubbish, but she loves the pies there. And I've got to be honest, I do too. So if anybody's in the Crayford area, I'm sure you can Google it. It's a shop called Flows, and the guy that owns the establishment, it's named Flows after his little girl apparently. Because I asked him one day, I said, "Where's the name Flo come from? Is it like your grandmother or something?" I was expecting him to say it was his nan, but he said, "No, it's my daughter Florence." I was like, "Oh wow!" So. Nice. Ahmed, you're watching us from Egypt. Oh, mate,
like and subscribe.
Top with, yeah. Don't forget. Hang on, let me get the banner up. Hang on. Hopefully he already has, but just in case you haven't, Ahmed, click like on the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, please, and make sure you hit that bell icon as and when we come up with any more streams. A little thing will come up on your device to say they're streaming. So make sure you do if you haven't already, mate, and we appreciate you jumping on. As I say, unfortunately, you've turned up just as we've wrapped up the stream. So honestly, Peach, Flows in Crayford, it's a really good pie and mash shop, really good pie and mash shop. And the thing I like is sort of like the setup there. They've got like, the old sort of proper wooden benches and all that. It's sort of like a bit of an old school feel. So anyway, we're talking about food again, Milesy.
I know.
Why do we keep doing it?
I know. If it's not booze, it's food.
Anyway, yeah, it's always one or the other, mate. Always one or the other. Right, I'm going to hit the end credits, and then I am going to make an exit stage left. Just had one more comment come in. Let's just hang on. What's this? Do it, Ahmed. It's worth it. Yeah. Thanks a lot for that, Peach. Thanks for the recommendation. Always appreciate it. Hang on a minute. You do not understand English. Behave yourself, Ahmed. I'm telling you. just your English here, mate. I'm telling you, you can do English better than a lot of English people that I know. I'm not believing that for a minute. I'm not having that. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining us. Stay safe. Milesy, what are we?
We are fucking massive. And it's coming home.
It's coming home. Come on, you Irons. Come on, England.
Irons.
It's coming home. Thanks for joining us, guys.